I want to integrate into one or maybe two. We have not seen an automaker take to heart this simple fact. You need at least 3 of these players, maybe 4, to all come together, sing kumbaya.
There's an article here about how can automakers make money from mobility. Just real quickly, it talks about what the different automakers are doing and this kind of stuff. Here's the answer. So how can automakers make money from mobility? The answer is they can't. They're not going to make any money from mobility. Why are they not going to make any money from mobility? Why? Because they're stubborn and they don't want to partner with each other. You'll see one automaker partner with another. You'll see Daimler, which owns Mercedes, partner with BMW. And you've now seen Ford partner with Volkswagen. And the problem is you need critical mass. You need at least 20, 25, 30% of the connected vehicles on the road. If you ever want to be able to actually have some kind of material amount of inventory. So inventory in this, if you're building a development platform and you think about Android and iOS way back in the day, what did Android do? They went to literally all of the handset manufacturers, except for Apple, put them into an alliance called the Open Handset Alliance, and boom, I have millions of smartphones using Android. At that time, I think Windows was still around, but they had millions of devices, which means I had millions of consumers interested in potentially using apps from third-party developers. That's the other side of this mobility platform equation. You need third-party tech startups and developers and service providers, which we've spoken about in the past on the show, to participate. But here's the thing. The auto industry is still very fragmented. So even if you are a Volkswagen, a BMW, a Ford, at most you control maybe 7 or 8% of the market. Which means if 2 of you partner up, at most you have maybe 15% of the market. And then if you go to the supply side of the network and you try to convince the supply side of the network to build apps or to integrate on your connected services, they're going to say, no, it's not worth the effort because I don't want to have to integrate with 6 or 7 other groups. I want to integrate into 1 or maybe 2. 3 is a stretch, and pretty much everyone's going to tell the third player, no, I'm not going to do it. It's really just 1 or 2, particularly on development platforms where the integration effort and the switching costs are so much higher. So it's just much harder. So we have not seen an automaker take to heart this simple fact. The old competitors in the auto industry, automakers, are now an automaker's new allies. The new competitors in the auto industry are the large tech monopolies called Apple, Google, Amazon, throw Baidu in the ring, sure. And the only way you can try to beat the large tech monopolies is by partnering up with each other in mass, or at least you need at least 3 of these players, maybe 4, to all come together, sing kumbaya, and agree that they're going to go in on some kind of mobility platform initiative, open up APIs, let developers build software, help them tap into the users and the customers driving across multiple manufacturers' brands. This article goes on to explain why Maven, which was GM's like car sharing platform, but you could only use GM vehicles, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense. How is that going to beat Turo or Get Around, which you could use any vehicle, right? So what the traditional enterprises in this space, the automakers, are struggling is that they have a lot of advantages in the sense that they do have, say, 8% market share. That value is not the be all end all. That just doesn't magically make you a win. That helps give you initial supply. That helps jumpstart the platform, but it doesn't make you a winner. So if GM said, hey, we're going to contribute all of our GM vehicles into our Turo Get Around, car sharing platform competitor, and we're going to seed it with a bunch of money, and I'm going to seed it with GM vehicles, maybe they could go get another tier 2 OEM to partner up. Okay, that's a good starting point. Maybe they could beat a pure tech marketplace, Turo or Get Around, that is much farther along But because GM is bringing all of these advantages and inventory to the table, it gives them advantages, or it gives them a leg up. It doesn't just now make that a winning strategy, because clearly it failed and it's no longer around. So the auto industry is probably one of the most frustrating industries I see in terms of, again, our constant battle, large tech monopolies, traditional incumbents. The traditional incumbents really do have so many advantages. Building a car is so much harder than a smartphone, but they just continue to mess this up. And I don't know, well, I could go on and on forever about it. But the last point I'll make on this is, how do the tech monopolies get the incumbents to work with the tech monopoly? They give them technology for free. What is the key Google app, right, killer tech that Google's giving away? It's Waymo. It's autonomous driving. And they are clearly ahead in autonomy than pretty much any other automaker. And so Google says, here's this technology. They give them this value, and then they get access to the ecosystem. It's literally the most classic play in the playbook. This is like 101. You can see the script play itself out for the past 20 years and the next 20 years. The platform gives away the technology. The technology is a commodity. The power is in the ecosystem. And if Google, via Waymo and Android Automotive, which now they have in GM vehicles, and which they have Honda and other and Chrysler and other partners, do the math. Do they have 20 or 30% market share once they have Android Automotive and all this stuff in the vehicle? Absolutely they do. Oh, and by the way, they only have millions of app developers ready, willing, and able to integrate on top of Android Automotive and bring all these connected services to the drivers of GM, Honda, FCA, and so on and so forth. I mean, the writing's on the walls. The ship has already sailed, pretty much. It's just a matter, I think, of who's going to be the number 2 player, because I think Google's pretty much got this dialed. And they're not going to mess it up. Hi, this is Alex Mozed. Thanks for joining us on Winner Take All. If you enjoyed the content today, which I bet you did, please comment, subscribe, and definitely message me on Twitter when we're doing live streams. Also, please note, all opinions expressed about stocks or public companies on the show are exactly that, opinions. This is not investment advice. Don't act on it. WisdomTree licensed Applico's Platform Insights data product to aid in the creation of the PLAT ETF. Thanks for joining us.